So real quick, these are all the products I used in the video, but you can substitute them for things. Just remember, you can get creative with this and put your own twist on things. Okay, hi! So today we're gonna be showing you how to make a fake cut using homemade scar wax. What you're gonna need for that is cornstarch and Vaseline. So all you need is 2 ingredients, and you're gonna mix them together using more cornstarch than Vaseline. And you're gonna wanna mix it until you get a texture kind of like this. It's gonna be a doughy texture. As you can see, I can make it into a cube shape, but I can still squish it, and it really feels like a lot like dough. Okay, so the first real step after you've made your mixture, and it's like a good doughy texture, you're gonna wanna start pinching it and pressing it down to your hand. It's not supposed to be sticky, but if you press it and push down enough, it's gonna stick to your hand. So then you're gonna wanna start pulling towards the outer part of your hand and smoothing it down, because in the end, the smoother, the better, and it's gonna look really good, even if it's tedious. Okay, so once you've smoothed it out enough, which is really important, it's gonna kind of look like that from the side, so it's gonna be like a small mound on your hand. That's what you wanna see. And don't be afraid to pull your mixture all the way off your hand. That's actually a really good way to get it looking nice and smooth, and it'll look a lot more real. Okay, so the next step is gonna be color matching, which means you're gonna take a powder or cream, in this case powder works better, and you're gonna wanna make your homemade wax look like your skin tone. So I'm using a brush with a powder that's really light because I'm really pale to match it to my skin. Okay, here's the fun part. I went ahead and made the mound a little bit bigger to make this easier for y'all to see, but we're gonna be taking something like this plastic knife and we're gonna be cutting down the middle of it to make it look like an actual cut. So we're gonna wanna use the smooth side, not the ridge side, because that texture could mess up how it looks in the end. Okay, so you're gonna wanna make a little cut in it, but you don't wanna start all the way on the end. You wanna start somewhere right around here. So that way it doesn't look like it goes out your scar wax. And you're gonna wanna cut in small jabs and make sure you don't go out on the other end either. Once you have something that looks a little bit like this, you're gonna wanna go ahead and smooth it out again to make it look a little more natural. Okay, so I went ahead and finished smoothing it out a little more to make it look more real. So now we're gonna have to go back in and color match it again. And I'm just gonna lightly use the same powder I used before and to make it look like my skin tone. Remember to pat it softly so you don't mess up any of the texture on it. Okay, so a real quick fun tip is you can actually use some of the cornstarch you used in the beginning and lay it over to reduce shine so it looks more like your actual skin. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't match my skin perfectly, but that's actually fine because this is all sort of a trust the process kind of thing. In the end, it's gonna work out a lot better when we add our final details, which we're about to get to. Okay, so the next step is blood. Now, my preferred blood of choice is this thing called bloody scab or scab blood. Now, not everybody has this, so feel free to check around in old Halloween makeup kits that might come with blood in them, or they might come with a red face paint palette which you could use to look like blood. But overall, this is like a creative thing. You're making these things yourself, so get creative with it, and I'm sure you can figure out something to make it look really good. So I'm going to be using this small brush and getting a tiny bit of blood on it, and then I'm going to be applying it to my cut in small little dabs, as you can see here. Okay, so another thing you can do with your blood is start putting it around the outside of your cut. Now, if you do this, it's gonna look like it kind of just happened, or it's more recent and there's actually blood everywhere, and it overall can make it look really cool. But make sure when you're dabbing on the blood, you do it really lightly so you don't peel up any of that scar wax because it will move. You can also go in and dab it with your fingers to make it look a little more real. That's also a really helpful thing. Another choice is making it mostly go to one side so it looks like maybe you got cut from a certain angle. That's a really fun thing to mess around with. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and did it mostly around one side so you can kind of tell how it was cut. And that's just how I wanted to do it. Feel free to get creative with it and put it wherever you want. So the end result is gonna be different than everyone else's. It's gonna have your own unique spin on it, and it doesn't have to look like mine or anybody else's because it's your own thing. But overall, this is just a really fun way to spend an afternoon, freak out your friends or family. So don't get too frustrated over it. It can be a little difficult, but in the end, it's all for fun. Okay, so here's a couple more views of it, closer up and from the side. But yeah, in the end, I hope you learned something from this, and most importantly, I hope you had fun, because this is just a really fun thing to do. So, bye!